need to speak to somebody. I think I know who the ripper is.
Cia hílú go míú nasc idir achtraí an Yorkshire Ripper assassina agus na dhúnmharú a tharlaigh a gundaí ar Manach in 1972.
Bhí 1972 ar an bhíine balhasa den chibhlint I dúisceart na hÉireann, nuair a Mariú beagna 500 duine. I mídhearú fómhair na bíana sin, Mariú trúr fear ág thuaisceart de ort nuair is staiad, a pobal iargalta ar an teorann idir fear Manach agus Manachan. Go luas na seachtaidí bhó airm na Breataine le feiceáil ar an teorann an tamar fad, agus beag fianaise atá ionanis den ról a d'imisiad na den chibhlint chéin fiú. Agus méag teamaint a chluanáis a neisciúd na hÉireann I drá a haigé sa thuaisceart, sníonn an bóthir isteach agus amá trasna an teorann go minic thuaiscí a chopla míle. I mídhearú fómhair 1972, saoil chun buais beirt neisinaí dar a bhainneam Michael Nan agus Andrew Murray ar irim iargalta ar imil a haigé. An léir a bhí sin warí an TRA ball éitiúil den UDR, Robin Bell an n-imeaglach. I gceart léir cogaí rinneú dearmad go gasta ar na dúnmharuithe, agus fáigeann na teaghlaí agus na pobal ar leitiú. Fáice inis go mór an amhras fan a gcuid córsan.
Typical Sunday morning, you got up, you had to hurry to get things done, to get ready up in time to go to church. It was my father, my brother and I, the three of us. We got up, got our breakfast. Robin was the oldest of family of 6. There was 2 boys, himself and I, and 4 sisters. He always wanted to farm, thought of nothing only farming. Him and I were very close. We grew up together. There was 18 months between us. We shared the same bedroom, worked together on Saturdays, at evenings. My brother was on the B-men, and then it was disbanded and the UDR came into his place and he joined the UDR. And then over a year later I joined the UDR. And you sort of felt you were doing your bit to keep terrorists at bay. And on the other hand, there was a social liaison side to it too, you know. You were all sort of comrades and all locals. And, you know, there was plenty of banter and a bit of crack there as well, you know.
You ready, Richard?
I carried a personal protection weapon that time. I had a pistol in my waistband of my trousers. I left home around 28 or thereabouts and headed up here. Just the usual run up here, and just as we turned in the end of the lane, they were hiding down the bank on the other side of the road just. And then the gunfire started. Two distinct bangs, like a hammer hitting a sheet of tin, and then there was an unmerciful rip, a real burst of fire. He would have took the most of it at that stage. I returned fire with pistol and the Armalite rifles. Wasn't much of a battle.
What was said in the car?
All was said was, get your head down and bog the boot. And I was the only one did speak. Robin never spoke.
What stage did you realise that Robin had been hit?
When we got up to the yard here and realised he wasn't moving, I knew the end was serious. When I rolled out of the back of the car, my first thoughts was, is there somebody in the yard waiting on us?
Robin! Robin!
Seeing the way he wasn't getting out, and I knew it was serious. And I run round the yard, and then I run round the end of the house to see if they were following us up the lane or anything. And just then I realised I had made the escape out the other when I heard the car going off into the island. We had no way of following them. There was no point following them at that stage.
Did you talk to Robin?
We did, but we didn't get much response. He seemed to be in a sort of a, I don't know how you'd say it, was unconscious or in a sort of a daze.
Robin! Robin!
Father, he took a notion he would start driving the car on a skilling. And like, there was no windows in the car and there was 30-odd bullet holes in it. There was no chance of doing that. So we just had to wait till the ambulance come. It was a long wait.
So your father accompanied Robin to the hospital?
Yeah. Then on the road down, my father said that about less below, he said to him, I don't think I'm going to make it. So, he told him to hold in there, and they got to the hospital, and that was it.
You stayed behind?
Yeah, I stayed behind and did the milking. And then when the milking was over, I went down and went to the barrack, and they told me then they had just got word to say he had passed away.
That must have been difficult for you to remain behind and just to...
Well, it had to be done, you know. That's the way you farmed, you know. Work had to be done. That's the way life goes on a farm. No matter what the problem is, the animals have to be looked after. As far as I'm concerned, the thing was traced through. They were traced as far as where they crossed the water into the south. And, well, the authorities on the southern side of the border didn't do a big pile to help catch the perpetrators. And it seemed to be at that time, well, they've gone as far as the border, they've escaped into the south, and that's it, they're not going to be caught.
He bhhain den dreigid seo tá ma n-imeachtaí na hÉireann. An tíbhaile an thuaisceart. Cé go dog an teorann a dhearbhú de aontaachtaithe gur sirannaí de chuid na Breataine a bhí antú. Bhátha siad fásta gur lig an teorann cíarna don IRA éalú chuig éit measar a sábhailte in éadífa ansaí a dhéanú. Ó híomh na neisinaí a dé, éagár dhéanta a bhí sa teorann. Thar sé crí dhéailt na tíre a gibhne dífa agus ba chúis cebhlinse an hain.
I was well aware, obviously, of the troubles that were going on. I would have known the Bhéal family. It would have created a bit of fear, the fact that there was murders in the area. And being young, we were obviously afraid that this was going to, affect us in some way or other.
Bhí údar leis an oglaisian. Nuair a bhí na Bhéals ag genú ré le Robin a chur a gréin na ciile, hanig scéala a adla go bhfuil is beirt neisinaí, Michael Nan agus Andrew Murray Marú. Iad séiteach an buis ar Tealaigh na Nans, coppla puircear hiúil ó Irim na Bells.
I was at home studying for GCSEs that year, and I had maths homework, which I was having great difficulty with. My brother came into the room that night to tell me, and he said, Michael has been stabbed. And I said to him, is he bad? I never thought that he might have been killed, and he said, no, he's dead. My father died when I was 12. I looked on Michael as being my sort of substitute father. I spent every weekend and every holiday that I could get on the farm. We got on really well, and he was very popular with his own family and with friends and neighbours. But he was always up for a game and up for a laugh, you know. He'd be sitting on a stool. There was no milkers at the time, but he'd just squirt at you with the milk of the cow, you know, just as you're coming through a door or something like that. And he did that to plenty of his friends as well, you know. He was just
a rogue?
He was a rascal, yeah. He was always up for a laugh. Andy was a very likeable person, very, very friendly. He was always smiling. Very, very nice person.
Tá an síl níos suaine inis, agus is dalú a hawlú an tionchar a bhfuig na trí dhúnmharú sin phobal bag tuaiche mar seo. Thacrama taisteal chuig ferm na nans le bualú le stairiúla agus iriseoir éitiúil as clúanáis. Scríú se leor dhúnmharú Michael Nan agus Andrew Murray, dar tideal The Pitchfork Murders. Muid taran sead leis an Irim héin in seo na sibhríon, int rudbag dú fan Irim a héin?
Tá sé beidir míle ó maile beag dar bhain imeaglach. Just an príomhbóthar idir ina Scotland agus an Comhaontú ó Bhéal Feirste. Tá sé beidir 340 slaat ón príomhbóthar seanbhóthar a bhí idir Bhéal Feirste agus ina Scotland fadó. Is ferm beag ach deartar gur duine gur ibrithe aonanta mhaith a bhí I Michael Nan agus bhí sí honaí a fiosú.
Tá dearú ga álais a bhainneann leis na chéas bailíthe le chéile ag bríon sa leor seo. Idir réitis ofagiúla, tuairiscí na bólainní, tuairiscí ó iriseoirí éitiúla agus náisiúnta, chamaile tuairiscí ó ioníthe éitiúla.
I was travelling for firms in Enniskillen. I was selling oil, collecting accounts. I was coming to Michael now to collect an account. And as I drove in the lane, I got to about here. The tractor and trailer with bales of hay were sitting in the gateway, so I couldn't get by. I got out of my van and I started walking up into the yard. And when I was up partly into the yard, I thought, there's something very funny here. I turned, I walked back down again, and in the corner here was a body laying with his hands over his face, two arms over his face. I thought that was Michael Nan, I wasn't sure. So I stood there and looked around. There was blood everywhere. So I thought, I'd better go and get the police here. So I drove back into the barracks to report it. And when I was there, they made me come back out, drive out in front of them again. They followed me out, some army after them. And there was a young policeman. And he went to walk in, it was a swarthy, rat, place. He was going to the knees and he came back out and he says, that's not Michael now. He says, that's another young fella. So I discovered then it was Andy Murray.
Nuair tháinig siad rás, chos sé cuireadh agus thairling siad corp Andy Murray amach ón mar sin ach bhís an gro deartar is na sáteile gur ó fola an talamh gur thairling sé ón áiteile gur tharlaigh an dhúnmharú in áiteile agus gur thairling sé agus gur chaid duine ag an in son pull sin, in son swamp sin.
When we came out, the sergeant came out, and when they said that wasn't Michael Nairn, he said to the police that was with him, the fellows that was with him, he says, go up and search the yard, he's about somewhere, was the words he said. It was a wee black and white dog, and it was running around through the hedges and through the fields. The barracks, it was just out of his mind. So it was. I can still see that dog. I went up into the yard, and after about 5 minutes they came down and said, no, Michael Nairn's not here. He says, go back and look. And I went back up round the corner, and they came running back. I said, yeah, he's the buyer. Well, every so often you think about it. You think, well, if I had been there maybe earlier, would I have been one of the 2 or 3? You never know.
Daoine na háte gur warí iad le píci. Ag an am mar sin an scéal a tháinig amach díreach in an dhúnmharú.
Ihe na dúnmharuithe. Chur fínithe in núl gur ó saidirí de chuid arm na Bratainne ag an tain bhalla a bhainiste chuig ferm na nans. Hannig se chun cinne na dhééis gur tugu orthu dífa tradum a chur ar an erm go dtí go danig an RUC chun scrúdú forensa a dhéanú an bhaidín dar gan.
Right, lad. We're about to edit, mate.
Ach anion an tradum le giú féhigil éanara iste ar an erm a léir na híthe.
Nuair a thuí an RUC isteach i ndéis sin chun na forensic side ní ró píocha ar an erm. Céim fá, well, sé sin scéal eile.
Two men down. Okay.
Nuair a hanig teagla Michael Nairn a adlis an erm an bhaidín dar gan, bhí an éit dú le saidirí.
We arrived by car coming in this way here. The army stopped us and told us that we weren't allowed to go any further than here.
He stopped you?
They stopped us, yes, and
Down
told
the
us,
window?
yeah, told us that we weren't getting any further because it was the whole place was closed off.
Fwy náam a chraig James agus a chlan an erm, bhí Kirp Michael agus Andrew ar shiúl. Did you enter this
Oh, I
building?
did, yes, yeah. But there wasn't anything. There was some blood in it, but not a lot.
Why did you go in?
Well, I had to see for myself. I wanted to see.
Ceapan déanra náisiúnta gan dóta bé gur a béad an UDR, go bhí baint acu leis an méide tharlaigh.
I heard about it on the night that after they were killed, was the day my brother was buried. And as it was the fact that it happened so close together, it was, well, I suppose it was inevitable that people are going to look at it as retaliation, tit for tat.
I think everybody locally thought that that's what it was, that because he was an easy target, he was living on a remote farm, it was very easy to go in, and I think Andy Murray was just a victim of being in the wrong place at the wrong time.
The relationship was estranged, definitely. There wasn't the same stopping and chatting to the people on the road, or you met them in town, you know, you sort of bid them a time of day and walked on type of thing, you know. It was on both sides. Maybe guilt on one side, was it some of them that had attacked us, and suspicion on our side, who was the person that pointed the finger.
I think the fear at that time, you know, with both sides of the community having been hurt and suffering bereavements, they were very, very nervous, and the tension in the area was, you could feel the tension in the area at the time.
Ach bhí sé comór agus uafasach nach raibh na daoine an lóirt faoi. An méid bhí siúil an seachtain sin, faoin dhúnmharú. Bhí daoine ciúin, bhí ciúnasáin ach bhí daoine ag smaoine faoi agus bhí agla daoine gan dát. Má tá sin an tharlaigh, chattá ag teacht síos an mórthir.
An rud an nochtú inné sé bliana de hiúnis agus agla na scíal uafasa faoi dhúnmharú agus ceilt.
Chánig an scéal amach I 1978. Bhí duine an sasanna dar a bhanam an Yorkshire Ripper. Mícháil a bhíar agus ag dhúnmharú mará sasanna. Agus bhí duine a chuir sé gléach na pís in Huddersfield.
Hello. I need to speak to somebody.
So thuaise go dtí na pólíní agus dúirt sé sílam ghfuil ólas agam faoin duine a tá cuntach faoin rud seo.
Look, I know who the rapper is. I know who the rapper is.
Sílam gur session an Yorkshire Ripper, mar rinne sé an rud seo a gcondéar Manach in 1972.
It's Hathaway. He killed 9 in Northern Ireland in 1972.
Agus every time a Ripper slaying hit the headlines, a chord was struck in the conscience of a soldier. He thought the Ripper could have been Hathaway because the Argylls were based at Catterick, near the notorious killer's favourite haunts. His telephone call was picked up by a robot answering phone. When transcribed, it came out as Hathaway and another soldier killed Nan in 1972. Ach, bhí feibhil sin méid dúirte.
In Tamil, bhí ag an pólíní nachró Hathaway is sasanna ag an am nachró sé an Ripper ach bhí sim acu faoin scéal eile bhí le ráige agus chuir siad scairt an orthu ag an am agus thosaí an fistrachán inné sin.
We were sitting in our home in Listonski when my aunt from Scotland rang to say that there was a big write-up in the Scottish papers that there were British soldiers, the Scottish regiment had been arrested in relation to this.
Marfacha an chontas a thugann scéire. Tógu an Sergeant Stanley Hathaway an Argyll agus Sutherland Highlanders, agus ceistíú ag imscrúdú thoirí an RUC agus Aram na Bretagne.
Where were you on the night?
I don't know. I can't remember.
What time did you leave base?
I can't remember.
Who were the others with you?
I don't know.
Once that news came out that it was a British army, I found it hard to believe because I couldn't understand how the army would come in and just target a local man without having any knowledge. But as it turned out, the British army knew all along what they were doing and who they were targeting.
Tugann an teolas a bailliú le linne himscrúdaithe, pictar sáilear dún gluaiseachtaí agus ghirthaí na Argylls ag an am.
Caiad mé rá, ní ró siad gcondéar Manach ach gur faoi seachtainna amháin. An dearad seachtainna a tháinig siad gur mana, cad a tharlaigh ach an taithí ré an mórthir idir clúan ós agus chawan agus thug sé glúisteán ó duine éigean agus baint siad úsáid as an glúisteán sin in an ionsaí a bhí ar Robin Bell. Warí siad Bell faoi thrón na Sasannaí. Sílam, or móthúram, bhí farraigh orthu, mar tharlaigh an gníomh sin ar War Watch. Ag an am céine, bhí farraigh orthu faoi an méid a hit amach I gcondéar Wacha, mar gurtaí cin den díchaid go donna, ribheacht gur formanna, agus warí roinnt eile acu ó na Argylls in Ecadon Gannon I Tyrone. sílam gur díaltas a bhí a gceist ach Haró díaltas I gás Robin Bhéal a bhí a gceist ach díaltas né an méid a tharlaigh don Argyles in Ardhacha agus Tyrone. I né an ionsaí Robin Bhéal mog na Saidirí díreach ó sin I dro a hagé go dtí ferm Michael Nana. Sin an áitin ró campa na Sasanna agus maic tú hí sin bhí sin teach Bhéals. So bhí siad an ón campa sin teach Bhéals a eáil agus teach Michael Nan.
Rinne na Argyles campa in éit dar bhainnim Sandhills. Airdan a thug réirc sáileardaoife an Bhéal agus an Nan. Bhí an cafhtín Andrew Snowball a bhí na lieutenant in 1972. Rinne de thriúr cheannasaí buine bhí ag tuairisciú don uas cheannasaí complachta an muir Jeremy Mackenzie.
How many troops was deployed on that night?
30 troops.
Was it raining?
Not to my knowledge. Damp, but not raining.
Is céid go ddíra rún campa ag an airm ro sé a tíú seo na?
Well, maic an tú hús an sin, tá lína croich an sin sa drum ard, agus just ag jeru an drum sin, it's na cran hús an sin hí Sandhills, sin áitstar a bhanam Sandhills.
Hain coddan na Saidirí dús gur siad an aice na ferme Charbí. Ach jarwi fini hysúl gur Saidirí airm na Bretagne le feiceal fod na héite ag an am.
Where was the base camp located?
What base camp?
How many was with you that night?
I don't know.
Bhí cáil na Argyles gur gró siad níos measan an paratroopers. An regiment is crua, na hard men ó airm na Sasanna. Bhí siad ag done timpeall na háite ach go háirithe dúirt siad go raibh siad a comád fearra ferm Michael Nan. Agus Michael Nan éon féin mar deirtear sa ráiteas atá acu go raibh briefings go raibh Michael Nan mar bháil de na IRA.
Did you go there to search Nan's farm that night?
I don't know. I can't remember.
Did you suspect he was a member of the IRA?
I can't remember.
Tá sagin ón ceantar ón na Déanra sa ceantar nach raibh sé bháil den IRA ach bhí sé mar bháil den stracail don cearta sibhialta.
You for the dance tonight? Don't know about that. I think they get you a woman, hey. You have to run after these cows all the time.
Michael used to be always playing little tricks on him, you know, and Andy he got on with life, you know, but he was a hard worker. But sometimes Michael would go and collect him if they were going to do something. He'd collect him at the house and he'd leave him back at the house, depending on what the work was on.
Busy day ahead of us. In the shed too,
Did you ever work with Andy?
Oh, I did, yes. We worked on the farm, you know, we had to make hay, we had, you know, there was lots of work being done at the time, and even moving cattle and doing whatever, yeah. I knew Andy very well.
Bhí sé go maiil le céile agus bhí Andy mar ag torch cabhair dó. Gná daoine a bhí a gceist, you know, bhí sé just young lads mar a ceantar agus iad ag dul go dtí an cinema nó ag dawsaí agus níor daoine triblóideach nó aon rud bhí gnásaí a lacu, you know, go dtí sin. Bhí siad ag lugu bothóg nó scibáil an airm sean cin a bhí an. Agus bhí Andy Murray ag obair ar sin, so bhí sé ag fáid bales de strá an seasamh ar sayas platform nó scaffolding, agus ag an am céine bhí Michael Nan I bothóg beag nar a tháinig na Sasannaí ar an airm.
Right, what's your name, pal?
Andrew Murray.
Who owns this farm and where is he? You two, watch him.
right?
Against the fucking wall!
Get against that wall now.
Against the fucking wall!
Johnny, do you fucking move from that wall? You're a dead man, alright?
Dúirt duine ón Saidiúrí go thuaisí go dtí doras an teach agus cnag siad ar an doras agus tháinig Michael Nán amach. Dúirt duine eile gur thuaisí díreach go dtí an bach agus go raibh sé istí an sin.
What operation were you on in Northern Ireland? October 1972?
October? We were doing security for a funeral.
Did you know where all your men were that night?
Always know where all my men are.
Jinnis Snowball den na himscrúdi harí, gur thuala se raflaí a cheangal a bhain héin leis na dúnmharuithe, a gur thíl se na rú bonus ar bílá.
What's your name, son?
Unless you know rightly what my name is.
You know what happened a few nights ago?
How would I know? You need to go down the country and ask the
all
people know.
Who were the others with you?
I don't know.
How many was with you that night?
I told you I don't remember.
Where were you yesterday?
And we want answers now.
Tá sé léir ón na ráiteas gur tháinig siad timpeall ar leathair níos sé nó ceathrú go dtí seacht. So bhí sé dán agus bhí sé dán le tamil fada.
Tell us who are it? What's your name? And what's your body's name?
It's none of your business what my name is.
You're going to give us a name?
Yeah.
Andrew, go get some help.
I'm telling you, boy, do you fucking move?
Fucking
Michael wasn't a softie. He was a strong man. He was well built. He would have been well able to look after himself in a one-to-one situation. He would have had no defence. He wouldn't have been able to offer any resistance while somebody stabbed him.
Do for you tonight, boy, I'll tell you that for nothing. Go on, do him! Do him!
Was it dark?
I can't remember.
What about the UDR man, Bill?
I don't know. I can't remember.
What is this I can't remember? What kind of soldier are you? Take 5 minutes.
Right, put in the drink! Don't fucking You fucking move! You fucking move! Stop! Get out of here! Do it! What are you doing? Do it! I can't do it! I can't do it! Do something! Oh my God, no! What the fuck are you doing? What are you doing? Don't! What are you doing now? What the fuck?
You couldn't do it. I done it. You couldn't have fucking do it. I done it.
So this obviously has been all closed off, and I don't know, this is probably drained now. But Andy's body was sitting just, I would say, flung into it, you know, so you're going back a couple of metres.
Let's go that way.
We need to get out of here now!
Let's go!
Go! Go!
Come on, let's do it. Easy.
Mariú charibh a 500 duine sa thuaisceart sa bhliain 1972, agus tá chuide smó den na dúnmharuithe sin go fáil gan fuascailt. Níor ggó na níor ceistú aon duine riamh as dúnmharú Robin Bell. Agus nochtú a nírinne fá heabh Michael Nán agus Andrew Murray mar gheall ar scéire. Í ar haidir a chuid deagháil leis na péis ar waithe le na chainseas féin.
Níl céal dá leiad mar léon aine na ráiteas éon rudéile áil amach a go ró cover-up ar siúil. Agus sílam gur chosaí an cover-up an ihe sin, ihe an dúnmharú. De réir na ráiteasaí I nné an dúnmharú, thuaidh siad de rás go dtí an campa. Dúirt cúpla saidiúí go raibh sé idir meánaithe agus a tríotlog ar maidin. Go raibh siad clúdathe le chéile hí dosén nó beidir 50 saidirí le chéile, agus iad a gaiire faoi, is a glóirt faoi, agus focail mar stabbed, fola, blood. Agus hí an sketchimní an, agus iad ag seaasú, agus hathafu ag seaasú e pot mór, agus soidir réile choné ag glanú, síos.
Dúirt sin ceannar a chestnut go danig hathafu a ráist chuig an champa, agus le solas tharse gur ní sean ilta héin go foscailte, os cóir idir 10 agus 5 haidir déag eile, agus goró an Lieutenant Snowball in the mask.
And were you aware that your men were involved in the murders?
It's not possible. My men would not get involved in anything like that.
Inéad an na saidirí a chur ar a suainnes. Dordaí Snowball da chearthar haidir eile seic fonse a chur ar an leine, idir an irim agus an príomhmháthair, agus an lethir a grid go ddíga danig an RUC.
De réir na ráití ó na saidirí, I lear na híthe bhí siad ar an bóthrín idir an airm agus an príomhmháthair, agus dúirt siad gur tháinig glúisteán nó chuir siad shooting break I lear na híthe. Dúirt cúpla na saidirí dúirt siad gur ó trúrán, dúirt duine eile ceathair bhí ceathairrán, dúirt duine acu gur as clú an óis a tháinig siad. Agus dúirt cinda na saidirí gur ó aithne aige ar na daoine sa glúisteán, gur ó aithne ach ní ró aithne mai aige thir. But chuir siad scairte ar an RUC agus dúirt an RUC leo leannéad ar é. Bhí daoine sa glúisteán sin agus iad a boiler suits. Lean siad ar an airm a fá 50 nóiméad nó níos mó chun an áte glanú I mómharuil, agus mar nuair a thuí an RUC isteach I nééis sin chun na forensic sáil ní ró píocha ar an airm. So sin a tháinig an raffla sin gur Pitchfork Murders a bhí a gceist.
Dan an waril sin, gur dhúnmharú an bheirt ar le pící, I mion an phobal agus na men chumarsaide, as sa jeru 6 bliana in the dhéis hasí an iirinne fan bhaintse bhíg na Hargails leis an actra seo a hacht chun solis.
3 years with bad memories. We've got all the evidence we need. Do yourself a favour. Just confess.
All right, it was me, I did it. I'm the one who did it. I killed him.
Nuair a dadhaí an Sergeant Hathaway don na dhúnmharíthe, thosaí Byrne agus Chestnut ag comhaobrú chomáid. Dadhaí an leas cheannar a Chestnut go bhfacais an na dhúnmharíthe, agus gur ó agla ar rud ar bí a ré, as rudda gur chreidse go danig na hórdaithe don na dhúnmharíthe ón ús bhunaíocht agus gur siad airm dírithe.
All right, I was there that night, but I'm no criminal. I killed no one.
Dadhaí Snowball gur chill se na dhúnmharíthe, ar bhaithe leis an airm agus an regiment.
Right. Give me a pen.
There was very little information came from the trial. It was all hush-hush, and obviously when they were jailed then, we thought that was the end of it. But as it turned out, it was only the start of it.
Fléadal an Sergeant Hathaway cinnta as dhúnmharú dúbailte Michael Nan agus Andrew Murray. Gerú príosantacht sílir an 1981 agus scrílú síré sa bhliain 1992. I néadá 1 bhliain déag a chathú i bríosan. Phléadal John McFadden Byrne cinnta as dhúnmharú Comhaontú, agus gearú príosannacht sílir. Scílú síre an 1991 tar éis gemlianna a chathú i bríosan. Phléadal Ian Chestnut cinnta as dhúnmhargain. Gearú tréimhse príosannachta ceithre bliana agus scílú síre coppla míon na dhééisin in 1981. Dadhaí an ceathrú Saidir, John Brennan Maguire, gur roise a lethir, agus gur chunne sé grim Andrew Murray na a bhí sé dá mharú, ach faigú na cúitimh ilig a bhí na éideann léir. Phléadal an Comhaontú Snowball cinnta as álas faoi na dhúnmharuithe a cheilt. Gearú príosannacht bliana finraí
So cad a tharlaigh, thu siad os cór an thuaisceart Bhéal Feirste, níor chuid sé lá I prison. Níor chuid sé lá. An duine a dúirt gur chlúdaí sé an gníomh. Shiúil sé amach ó an thuaisceart Bhéal Feirste agus díreach arás go dtí arm na bhreatanna. I ndé an thuaisceart, an duine dar a bhainm Saidir an duine tháinig chun tosaí I 1978. Dúirt sé don pápar nuaíocht in Alban. Siúr, fuair sé daoine a bhí cinteach, ach tá daoine I bhfad níos sinseacht ná na daoine seo agus tá siad sincere.
Did anybody come across Murray O'Nan on that night in question?
Not to my knowledge.
The rare Major Mackenzie, nor ceistú dúirt sé nar thuúla sé faoin duine sin, Michael Nan. Ach dúirt na Saidirí gur ólas acu faoin Nan, mar bhí tháinig ainm suas in sna ó-briefings na intelligence briefings in Ahagéin nó I Lis na Scé.
Dúirt Saidirí éagsúla gur ainmniú Michael Nan mar bháil den IRA, nó gur haca se lá. Dúrú fiú gur chearthúna san IRA
Did you talk to Major Mackenzie about it that night?
Why would I?
Léirí réitis an Comhaontú Snowball Comhaontú gur Michael Nan lista áirasta na Nargails, agus gur ainm álas ag na Saidirí.
Did you suspect he was a member of the IRA?
No.
Rud eile atá ráite ag an Major Mackenzie, ag nach rú sé an orm, Michael Nan go dtí inné an dhúnmharú. Ach tá sé léir go bhfuil na Saidirí a rá go ró sé sa ceanta, go ró sé an orm nó an ceantar timpeall an orm an ihe a tharlaigh a an rud. Tá sé simúil gur dearann na Saidirí gur daoine ag fécinn seorthú tríd NOD, a Night Optical Device, gur sayas binocular acu a bhí siad ná an rud eáil, gur siad ag fécinn sé an orm agus an méide tharlú I rithne hia.
Major, could you take us through from...
Nuair a ceistú Mackenzie héin, dúirt an ro Saidirí bí tí wastí de 2,000 den orm. Dúirt a Comhaontú, ba tá tuiscint bíhan go rósagam fa n-imeachtaí as an gréa an orm, go bhfuil sé sin mímhuiníneach. Ba háirdú a ré ná bhacam a ferm Nan go dtí an eachtra sin, agus mas rud gur úsáid mé an NOD an ihe sin, gur gré ghualgas a bhí gceist. Thar fisrahan na bólaní, maidiúir leis na dhúnmharuithe, béim an neamh leananachas idir chuntas an mhuir agus contais na Saidirí eile. Muíonn na Saidirí gur curú an úldaí fa gur Michael Nan lista áirasta na Nargails. Dúirtead gur siad ag fara an orm héin agus gur campa acu díra orm Nan. Héin an mhuir álas a bheith aige fan na léid.
Looking back on it, that I do remember about the wake was the presence of the British Army at the time. They were in the vicinity at the wake, they were in the vicinity at the funeral.
So the army were just up here?
Yeah, they were just up at the top of
Okay,
the
they could see all of everything that happened. They had access to the road, they could see who was coming and going to the house.
Yes, they would have had a view right down on the street to see who was coming in through the main entrance. They were so close, they knew so much. They even had set up in one of the old sheds up the lane, they had like an outlook post, because we'd have known by the way that there was hay in it, the way that there was hay and the way it had been fixed, and the cigarette butts that were lying in the area too. So that obviously was a lookout post, which was only 20, 25 yards from the entrance to the farmyard.
At the time, I said it wasn't right. Somebody said, oh, it's retaliation, and I said I didn't want retaliation, that murder's murder no matter where it comes from. It was a very scary time. 72, 73, families left the community, and the sort of the heart fell out of it type of thing. There was a businessman in the town was shot in his shop, and there was another man then in his garage. They shot him in the garage, and there was another man heading to his work in the factory in Lisnaskey, and he was actually off the UDR at the time, and they shot him on the road. And, you know, you're always watching over your shoulder type of thing, and man says you maybe you didn't even feel safe in your bed at night. After the news broke that it was the soldiers that killed Nan and Murray, things did relax after that. As far as the farming community goes, yes, we're starting to get round there now to help another out. I would say it probably has gone a full circle now at the present time.
Tá dearcú forlehan an ggóil an chibhlint ó chuaigh thart, agus go gaithí na híbertaí bogú a ré mar a deartar. Maithúnas a thabhairt agus dearmad a dhéanú de na rudaí a rinneadh orthu.
Forgiveness is not something that comes easy. To me, there has to be repentance before forgiveness. If they come to me and say, I was involved, I did it, I'm sorry for doing it, that'll be a different story. When people tell you about forgiving and forgetting, you can't.
I can't ever forgive the people that done that. I can't ever forgive the deceit that, that was involved in this. That's the big thing for me. I found it very hard to cope with at the time, and I suppose maybe it has affected me all through my life, because my own father died a natural death, but he didn't, if I like to go back and call it like a substitute father, he was tortured before he died. That hurts, and will always hurt.
It's 40 odd years now. There's no such thing as a detective ever coming out and reviewing the thing and saying there's anything else come up or whatever. It's filed away somewhere, forgotten about as far as I'm concerned. It's not that I want someone put behind bars, but I would like to know who the local was that pointed the finger. Let him be still alive or dead. It would answer a question for me.
Do you think you ever will know?
I don't think so. I don't think so.
The feelings just festered away, and they're still there 40 odd years after it. There's never been a conclusion to this murder. And I suppose the years are catching up with us now. I feel I will die and never know the truth.
Tá tuaisceart go fáiligh strahailt leis an chibhlint, agus tionchar na chibhlinte sin. Glúin níos foidir ré ó hasan na cogaí 1994 agus 1997, agus neall mar an dáthais ag na híbertaí go deochar ar an éireann go deá na neáir. As cinnte gur háardún mar thaí ar a léad gur háardún, clúas le hÉisteart a chóirtaí fa siúd atá scriste ag an chibhlinn sciarna. Ba háardún meas sa léirú ar an bhéid tal a ré acu, agus ar seart níchilta dhéanú le cinntiú nach tharlaigh i léid a chuí ríist.